Alright everyone, for the holdouts that still remain out there, this latest 24 hours seals the deal. Donald Trump and Joe Biden have clinched their party's nominations. There's no longer any opponents anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference, but for what it's worth, delegate-wise, they've clinched. You had the primaries in Georgia, Hawaii, Mississippi, and Washington State the other night. I'm going to take you through the results. A couple of interesting statistical bits here. In Georgia, Donald Trump getting 84.5% of the vote, winning all of the delegates. In Mississippi, he got 92.1%, winning all the delegates. In Washington, he got 73.8% of the vote, winning all the delegates. And in Hawaii, he got 97% of the vote, winning all the delegates. He's clean sweep. Same is true on the Democratic side. Biden winning with 95.2% in Georgia, 98.6% in Mississippi, 85.7% in Washington, and 93.9% in the Northern Mariana Islands, actually. The Dems abroad vote appears not to be in yet. Presumptively, Biden won that, I would assume. There are a couple of statistical blips here. Number one, in Hawaii, because there are very, very few Republicans, the sample size is only about 3,600 voters. Actually, not even that. It's barely over 3,500. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, Hawaii is clearly going to go for the Democratic Party, so we're not even going to look into that. In Washington, you've got a much more blue populace, and it's an open primary. Trump performed more poorly there. Where it's just Republicans voting, or where it's a really red state, he's outperforming. And by the way, I would point out that the turnout for the Republican Party, massively higher in Georgia and Mississippi, massively lower for the Democrats. The same as in Washington State, where, of course, more people took a Dem ballot, simply because there's more Democrats. When people look at the turnout and they fret over it, oh my God, Trump got lower turnout, oh my God, Trump got higher turnout, it's often just a function of whether the primary is open and whether the state is red, blue, or somewhere in the middle. If 70% of the state is Republicans, then you're going to have more Republican turnout. If you're in Washington State, where the Dems lead by 15 points reliably, you're going to have more people casting a Dem ballot. I would point out, though, that it's pretty goddamn close in Washington State, despite how blue it is, who took a ballot. I'm assuming that some of those Haley voters, she disproportionately got 21% there, didn't win any delegates from it, but for what it's worth, a lot of those will be Democrats as well. Looking at the numbers, it couldn't be worse for Joe Biden. Then I look over at the favorable, unfavorable ratings, and the same remains true. I would point out, by the way, there was no post-State of the Union bounce for Biden, or at least the preliminary polling appears to suggest that. That's pretty bad, because you needed that boost. The State of the Union is the opportunity to pitch yourself to the population. Well, if it falls on deaf ears, the pitch doesn't work, and you don't get a boost from that, and you're, 16 points underwater in the polling, that's not going to go over too well now, is it? Biden's riding very, very perilously close to an all-time low in approval polling. So Biden and Trump will be headed for a matchup. At this point, the only thing that... I don't think there's going to be a brokered convention. I don't think the GOP is going to be able to justify it. So, effectively, it's Trump versus Biden unless one of a few things happens. One of them dies. One of them has a major health crisis and complications from that precludes them from continuing to run. And that's not likely to happen. Although I don't think Biden would finish out a second term, I don't think he's going to imminently croak in the next few months. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is in relatively good health for a man of his age. Again, he's not in any imminent danger of dying unless some psychopath decides to take a shot, and leftoids generally can't fire straight, so he has to worry a little bit less than RFK Jr., I suppose, does. He still doesn't have his security detail, which is abominable. He's a Kennedy. He probably doesn't want the Secret Service around him because he's a Kennedy. He probably wants his own private security force. Maybe we should do a GoFundMe or something like that. Do a give, send, go. RFK Jr. hires a couple of security guards, courtesy of the internet, mainly for the lulz. Maybe we could organize something like that. Anyway, that's one possibility. So the health problem or death. Or the other problem could be that Biden stands down at the convention. That is decreasingly likely. I don't think that he would be doing a $30 million ad buy in the competitive states just to bow out and say, well, come on, man, I'm too old for this shit, I'm passing the torch to somebody else. I think Biden believes that he can win. He genuinely believes that, although it's looking unlikely. Ballot printers do go burr, so he does have the entire uniparty system on his side. It's just that he's running 6 points behind Hillary in 2016, and Hillary lost. So it's basically a battle between the people of the United States and their turnout levels and enthusiasm, and a bunch of bullshit ballot printers at this point. That's basically, the election is ballot printers versus the population at this point. That's what I'm seeing. I'm voting for the people. I think that they will manage to overcome it, because at some point it's going to be difficult to print enough ballots in order to actually overrun the populistic will of the people of the United States, especially when independents now lean heavily towards Donald Trump. He's got that advantage. So Georgia, Hawaii, Mississippi, and Washington State all go for Trump and Biden. It wasn't a surprise. There's nobody else in the race. Some people simply haven't gotten the memo. Took Nikki Haley a while to get it. She had to wait until after she got crushed on Super Tuesday. She finally saw the light and said, okay, I guess there really is no path forward for victory. And everything that I said to my fans over the last couple of months was a pile of bullshit. There are still people out there, though, that stubbornly cling to the belief that somebody else is going to become viable. Now you're going to see fluff pieces, by the way, now that they've clinched. You're going to see fluff pieces for third-party candidacies. Saw a couple the other day. You're going to see people talking a big game about Jill Stein and RFK Jr. and Cornel West and potentially whoever the no-labelers may or may not run. We're not 100% sure on that one. They're going to talk a big game about how that could be the defining moment of the election. Well, yeah, the fact that you've got a bunch of leftoids in the race is sapping Joe Biden of even more support. That's why Trump runs about a point ahead in the five-way matchup polling as opposed to the two-way matchup polling. In the end, Biden will reabsorb most of that support, by the way, though, so don't worry too much. The third-party candidates are not going to come in at the levels that they're polling at as far as the... because a poll is different. If you say, well, who would you prefer for president? And you say Trump or Biden or RFK Jr. or something, there are going to be people that say, well, I don't like Biden and Trump, RFK Jr. time. Maybe I like Cornel West or something. That does not guarantee that in the end, when they're in the ballot box, in the comfort of the ballot box, away from everyone else, with a curtain drawn around them, that they actually cast a vote for that candidate because they say, well, they can't win. It's impossible. The numbers just aren't there. I may like this dude or dudette. I like him a lot. I fucking hate Joe Biden and Donald Trump, but I'm going to have to hold my nose. Which one do I hate less? That's what's going to happen in the end in the election. I expect that final move will benefit Joe Biden, by the way. I just think that a 6-point swing from 2016 is a little bit sheer to overcome in the end. I think it's going to be a problem for the Democratic Party. If the damage trickles down ballot, as it probably will, God, the Republicans might actually manage to hold the House. I'm not betting on it right now. I'll have to look much more into polling, but there's a possibility. It's actually possible. The GOP might be forced to win. Oh my God. And that will scare them, and then they'll self-sabotage some more. That's about all. Peace out.